and the system analyzes that person's irises. It can pull up someone's identification and any criminal records. It also does face recognition from about 5 feet away and can even analyze fingerprints. Now, on the surface, this sounds like a great idea, but there is some controversy looming around Moris. So joining me now is Andy Hill. He's a retired sergeant from the Phoenix Police Department. Andy, let's talk about the benefits of Moris first. I would bet that this would help officers in many instances.
Yeah, hi, Randy. I think it's a great tool to have, and I think like every other tool that's out there, you have to make sure that you use it judiciously and don't abuse it. For example, the facial recognition part is fantastic. When you think about law enforcement, all police officers from the beginning of time have been actually doing facial recognition in their beat areas. They get to know people, they recognize somebody. So the facial recognition part is really just a normal day-to-day duty. It's when you get into the other parts of these biometrics where you have fingerprints or the iris scans that you're getting a little more intrusive, and then you have to kind of look at the issues of privacy.
Yeah, because a lot of people, or some people at least, are raising questions about this, because if you take these pictures and you do these scans and then they go into this database, so it has some folks wondering, well, what happens, what if I'm not a criminal and then you put all my information in a database? I mean, is that a valid concern, would you say?
Absolutely, and that's why it's up to law enforcement to create policy and procedures that keeps those that are innocent away or out of those databases. And of course, then you need to go ahead and review and make sure that those things are being done. It's a very important part of law enforcement now to be able to use facial recognition at the borders or at major events, and especially those border crossing issues now, and with terrorism, you have to have that. But you also have to make sure that if you're just going to be on the street as a patrol officer using this new mobile device, that you're using it appropriately, and you have to consider all of those issues surrounding privacy. And you can't just put people in a database. So you want to use a criminal database or those that may be in there already.
What do you think in terms of asking permission? I mean, some police departments that are planning to use this have said that, we will ask permission. We're not just going to snap photos and use the facial recognition. How important do you think it is to get the person's permission to do so?
I think it's fine to do that. Consent is a basis for so many things. In law enforcement, you can use consent if you want to search somebody's home if they give you consent. It's not the preferred way. You'd rather get a search warrant issued by a judge, but asking people permission to do things is a fine way to do it. You don't necessarily have to do it with the facial recognition if you're taking a picture from far away, but I think you might want to do that if you're going to take a person and ask them if they can stand still for a minute, or if you can get a close-up of their iris, or take their fingerprints. Then you have some kind of an intrusion and a privacy issue, and I think consent is a good way to go. And it's up to law enforcement not to abuse the tools that they get.
Mm-hmm. And despite what some might say about it, I mean, there's one sheriff's department in Florida that's been using a similar technology since 2004, and they've made 700 arrests. They said that's what that technology has resulted in. So clearly there is some benefit, right?
Oh, it's a tremendous benefit. Listen, I would imagine of those 700 arrests they made, a lot of them were for arrest warrants. There are thousands of people that have warrants for their arrests walking the streets in the United States of America, and they can't get arrested because there is no extradition for those warrants. That's a major issue that's been going on. I've been very much a part of it over the last year, and law enforcement is always looking for tools to recognize people. You're going to have people through facial recognition and some of these biometrics that may get identified that have arrest warrants. So it might help reduce the backload of those arrest warrants that exist in all communities.
All right, Andy Hill, always appreciate you coming on to talk about stories like this one. So thank you very much for your insight.
I'm